This is an I Am Listening podcast.
Certainly violence against women and girls is at epidemic levels. And particularly, with the rise of the sort of Andrew Tate characters, we can see it getting potentially far worse. So anything we can do as a council to reverse that trend is really important.
Welcome to the Kent Politics Podcast.
Hello again and welcome to another week of Kent's political news. I'm Nikki White, Senior News Editor with the KM Media Group, and here's just some of the stories which have caught our eye. The whole business of water, or rather South East Water's inability to provide it to local homes, was in the news yet again this week. But another story which is water related also gained some prominence. There is a proposal to build an AI data centre at Southfleet near Dartford, which would involve a 145-acre site. These structures are proving hugely controversial all over the world, particularly in the US, and applications are now starting to pop up in the UK. They are proving unpopular because of their size and scale. But since AI is likely to feature so heavily in the future, these centres are going to have to go somewhere, and in this case on agricultural land where soft fruits are currently being grown. Developer Clearstone Energy, which is based in London, wants to build a campus on these fields. There is now considerable opposition from local people, councillors of all stripes from county, borough and parish councils, and the local MP Jim Dixon. There is also a petition at change.org highlighting the strength of local feeling. What makes this proposal different to others is that Clearstone will try to use a status known as Nationally Significant Infrastructure Project, or NSIP. It means a company can ask the government to make the decision on such an application, bypassing the local authority. Apart from the loss of greenbelt land and the sheer size of the planned development, two of the main concerns are that these data centre campuses consume a massive amount of water and electricity. The water is needed to keep the machinery cool, and the sheer size of the operation would require a huge amount of power. Now, you will have noticed that it's been demonstrated over the past 8 or 9 months that there are some serious problems with the water supply here in Kent. Unsurprisingly, those against the plans are mainly worried that the centre will consume more than what might be provided. The site near the A2 was chosen, according to Clearstone, because of its, and I quote, ability to provide the land, power, high-speed connectivity and talent pool needed to deliver the next generation of AI-based applications. The company has explained that power will be delivered through a secured connection at the Northfleet East substation, which sits about 500 metres north of the land. Of the 145 acres, only 90 will be developed. The proposals will go out to consultation and views will be taken on board, and the company says it is happy to keep up the dialogue. But Jeremy Kite, the leader of Dartford Council, has been unequivocal in his view of such an operation. He said in his usual colourful and forthright way this week, "We don't like it and we don't want it. This is a plan we will no doubt be revisiting in time." We've all felt the heat these last few months as the UK has seen its hottest summer on record. But this weather has been a lot less enjoyable for some people living in Medway after the bins in a block of flats in Rochester weren't collected for 12 weeks. People living in Weavers Court and even their neighbours across the street have been forced to keep their windows closed because of the smell of the rubbish, which has been rotting away in the hot weather for more than 3 months. The block is managed by the housing association Orbit, and there's a communal bin store at the side of the building where bags of rubbish are put into large bins, which are then supposed to be collected. However, residents say that if there are any bin bags left on the floor, then Orbit is supposed to arrange for these excess bags to be collected. If that doesn't happen, Medway Council won't be able to take out the large bins for collection and disposal. Residents say they've complained to both Orbit and the council, but each just blamed the other for the problem. Meanwhile, the rubbish was just piling up. Unfortunately, it seems this isn't just a one-off, as residents say there have been instances over several years where bins have gone uncollected for weeks. The result, they say, is that they've had to deal with vermin and foxes dragging the rubbish out into the street. Residents have raised concerns that the situation is not only unpleasant and means they can't get relief from the heat by opening their windows, but also could have an impact on their health. After Kent Online got involved, Orbit said it would resolve the issue and finally cleared the excess rubbish and arranged for the bins to be emptied and cleaned. Virgin Trains has taken a step closer to rivalling Eurostar and run services through the Channel Tunnel. Rail regulator the Office of Rail and Road has approved a bid for Sir Richard Branson's company for track access to the high-speed network on the British side and to use London St Pancras International. Virgin has already said it would stop at Ashford and Ebbsfleet should the stations be given the vital upgrades needed to bring back continental services. The ORR said the track access decision was an important next step, but added there is still more work to do before the new services can run. Virgin and HS1 Limited, the firm which owns the line, will need to enter a formal agreement which would begin in October 2030, while Virgin also needs to secure permission with other rail networks in Europe and for the Channel Tunnel itself. Ashford Councillor Dickon Spain, who is spokesperson for the Bring Back Euro trains, said this latest step is good news.
It's a very positive next step on the journey towards getting services back to Ashford and Ebbsfleet in Kent. So it's great. It's great news, and it shows progress is being made. There's obviously lots of things to be done between now and the point where we can actually jump on a train and hopefully whisk ourselves off to Paris or somewhere equally nice for a croissant or something. So lots to be done between now and then, but it's a really good bit of news, yes.
Yeah, there are, as you say, lots of hoops still to jump through, but they're hoping to run trains by 2030, which of course by that time it would have been 10 years, wouldn't it, since Eurostar stopped at Ebbsfleet and Ashford International. I mean, how much of an impact over that decade-long amount of time would it have had on Ashford in particular, for example? Because I know there's been a real campaign in that area to get trains stopping again.
Absolutely. Well, it's held the economy back and the local prosperity of Ashford and the wider region. Actually, the impact goes way beyond Ashford, and if you include Ebbsfleet, you're talking about impacts all the way to Essex, southeast London, the whole of Kent, of course, and then down into parts of East Sussex as well, with people not being able to get that convenient transport over to the continent, and also obviously the other way around, inbound people trying to get in as tourists into the country and who would spend a lot of money actually. Kent, even without that link, has been outperforming in terms of the growth of tourism and indeed the spend of tourists into Kent. But with that link back, it'll make an absolutely huge difference. Good Growth Foundation's predicting £2.7 billion over 5 years. That's over £500 million of extra spending each year into the regional economy. So yeah, it will make a huge difference to get that back.
Is there a topic that you would like to be discussed on the Kent Politics podcast? Perhaps you've got a question for one of our panel, or you'd like to comment on a hot topic in local or national government. Get in touch by emailing or sending a voice note to kentpoliticspodcast@thekmgroup.co.uk.
Maidstone Council has pledged £250,000 to help address violence against women and girls. In November last year, the authority launched a community project looking at some of the issues. Believed to be the first of its kind in England, it brings residents together to discuss how their communities can be made safer. More than 1,250 people, some of them youngsters, took part in the survey, which revealed that 71% of respondents had changed their daily routine just to protect their safety. As part of the project, a group of 37 spent weeks discussing the issues, coming up with a list of ideas to improve things. Ideas include free youth clubs, safer public spaces, and ways to help people recognise and challenge harmful behaviours before they escalate. Now the council has pledged to spend £250,000 to turn those recommendations into a reality. Here's council leader Stuart Jeffrey.
So about a year ago, we started work on trying to get under the skin of what we need to do to tackle violence against women and girls. So we convened a deliberative discussion, 37 people across, representing a cross-section of the society in Maidstone. We worked with them over a series of meetings, with giving them information from experts and asking them specific questions to get their recommendations about what we should do or what we might be able to do as a council. And they've come up with a series of suggestions which we've taken on board, and we're putting some money in to put some expertise and some management power behind delivering some of the changes that they've suggested. Clearly, these changes are not going to solve the problem in its entirety, but it should help a little bit.
And when you say money, it is an awful lot of money, isn't it? £250,000. So does that show how important an issue you view this?
Yes, certainly violence against women and girls is at epidemic levels. And particularly, with the rise of the sort of Andrew Tate characters, we can see it getting potentially far worse. So anything we can do as a council to reverse that trend is really important. So we've got a plan we've worked up around delivering these 8 recommendations, and hopefully that will help to turn things around.
That's it from us this week. Find more at our politics page at Kent Online, and don't forget to sign up for our weekly newsletter at kentonline.co.uk/newsletters. And tune into the KMTV's Politics Show every Friday at 5 p.m. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for listening to the Kent Politics Podcast. Don't forget to check out stories throughout the week on the politics page of Kent Online. And you can watch the Kent Politics Show on KMTV every Friday at 5 p.m. or on demand at kmtv.co.uk.
This has been an I Am Listening podcast. For more information, head over to our website, im-listening.co.uk.